DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Intel, and Monster Energy.
Day 4 of DreamHack Open Summer has dawned, and with that comes more glorious Counter-Strike action. Today, it's not only about our winners matchups, but also another crucial elimination game to find out who will be continuing their journey here at DreamHack Open. We've got EU and NA games galore, with the likes of Big, Liquid, and Chaos all taking to the stage. And with so much on the line for all of our teams, it's shaping up to be another huge day of Counter-Strike action. And of course, I'm not doing this alone. Joining me along for the journey are the wonderful Potter and Maui Snake. Thank you both so much for joining me. Christine, we were talking about it yesterday. There was so many incredible games. I hope you've been relaxing and recuperating to head into day number 4.
I have been relaxing, and you're right. Yesterday was incredible. It was our first elimination day in DreamHack Summer. We said goodbye to a couple teams. We said goodbye to Yeah Gaming. We also said goodbye to Mad Lions, which is actually pretty freaking mad to say that they're already knocked out of the tournament, but we saw Endpoint making a huge comeback and even Fours beating out Spirit. So yesterday was really action-packed.
The UK lads hopefully making it come home. And Alex, I know that you've been more focused towards the NA side of life, but you're excited to be getting into an EU matchup to be opening the day.
Oh yeah, there couldn't be a better BO3 to get me started on the EU side, Freya. Mad Lions, it's sad that they're gone, but to bring it to the upcoming match, Big is a team that's been so hot lately, but Heroic has looked pretty good too. And with a team backed by Hunden, you know that they're going to be coming into today very prepared.
Yeah, they've got the big brains behind that machine. You know what? A healthy dose of Counter-Strike is the perfect way to be starting our day. And of course, it wouldn't be possible without our wonderful sponsors, Corsair, Monster Energy, and Intel. Thank you so much for helping DreamHack Opens happen. And we briefly mentioned it, Christine. There was so much that went on yesterday. Obviously, at Endpoint going through, Yeah Gaming testing the likes of Cloud9. If you had to pick one highlight from that selection box of games, what would it be for you?
It has to be Endpoint. Oh man, just thinking back on yesterday, them losing out that first map, 16-0, 0-16, and then we make it here to train. This is Robin making an ace clutch happen. The most important thing and why I chose this round was because they were down 4-13 at this point. Right after this anti-eco clutch round from Robin, they were able to rally 10 rounds in a row on the board to actually enable themselves to make that comeback happen and win out this series to not get knocked out of the team, of the tournament. So I thought that was so impressive, especially for Endpoint, a team that we didn't honestly have making it very far into this tournament. But to see that sort of resilience, that sort of mental fortitude from such a young team, it was pretty spectacular to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Especially coming back off of that first map. That was indeed spectacular to be watching. And I think what's interesting about this is if Big lose their game today, they're going to be facing Endpoint again later this week. I don't know what you're thinking about these two teams' form, Alex, coming into this tournament.
Yeah, for Big, or it's been really good for Big. It's been really good. But coming into this one, it's looked a little bit shaky. The way that they faced off against Endpoint and lost out on Vertigo earlier, that was a shocker for everybody. And the fact that it took Big Endpoint took him the distance on Mirage, actually. Or Dust 2, my bad. And that was similarly very surprising because it's a map for Big that is usually one of their home maps. It's a map that they really made a name for themselves on. They've turned an inconsistent map into quite consistent for them. And the fact that Endpoint, I mean, I know Endpoint has good procedures. I know that they have good protocols on Dust 2, but you would think that the firepower from Big would be able to carry them outright.
Well, speaking of other big news, no pun intended there, obviously, Moses moving to Team Liquid as a coach. It's been some huge news coming up in the Counter-Strike world this week, and I feel like it's a little bit of a bittersweet moment for us all. Obviously, no longer will he be gracing the casters and analyst desk, but at the same time, I could not imagine a better man to be doing the job. And we have a very special treat to start off the day. We had a chat with him about his move to Team Liquid. Let's take a look.
Well, if you've been sleeping under a rock for the past 5 years, I've been one of the top commentators in Counter-Strike and pretty consistent member of the analyst desk. And for the past 3 years, been commentating as a partner with Anders for our casting. I just got announced on Sunday to become the new coach of Team Liquid, and it's been something that's been in the works for a couple weeks now. It's been weird having to hold it in. I'll be honest, I'm glad the announcement is now behind me. So it's finally here, and I'm just excited to get started. When they first approached me with this offer, I messaged, a few people, and spoke to them and got their opinion on it. And I think part of me was probably looking for someone to say that, like, no, this is a bad idea. And literally everyone I spoke to, other commentators, other analysts that I'm friends with, other figures in the scene, some players, some other coaches, all were just super supportive. Even when the announcement came out, a lot of messages from some of the other players around the league that I've been casting for years and congratulating me. So, outside of the random dickhead, which is always going to be there, it's been, pretty much all positive. What I'm most excited for, obviously, is lifting trophies. Like that's, everyone tells me that's a kind of an addicting feeling. So that's great. But I think, even aside from the trophy portion, the process of getting there has always been a lot of fun. That's always what I always enjoyed as a player is that feeling of improving as a team and as a unit. I'm looking forward to just getting started with the team. Monday was my first day really being involved in the day-to-day business of how the team practices and operates. Looking forward to just having that continue for the next few weeks. Like really, I'm just excited to get to work. Once you win that first major, your goal changes to winning a second major. And, I think it'll be a failure if we don't get it because that's the last thing that this Team Liquid hasn't obtained. We're going to start slow with just one, but, I have the desire, I have the dream that if, we're feeling good and this team is in the right direction, we can make it multiple.
Liquid are lucky people to be having Moses on their side. And of course, we'll be seeing them take to the stage later today. Potter, I want to get your reactions to Moses moving over to the side of Team Liquid because it's some huge news.
It is some really huge news. And I gotta say, when, Moses, he reached the very top of his career, right? So it's very challenging to move and shift when you're in your comfort zone, when you made it to the top and take on a brand new challenge. And this challenge is the major, right? Bringing another major back to America. So I think this is huge for Jason. When I first heard about it, I told him, you gotta go for it. This is gonna be amazing. I can't think of a better fit for North America's dream team to have as a coach in Moses. So I'm excited to see exactly what he can actually accomplish.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely massive to see what he can bring. And Alex, from your perspective, obviously you're really into the NA scene of Counter-Strike. This has got to be a massive move, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This has sent shockwaves throughout the scene in North America for sure. The one thing I have to note, Moses, you gotta still take it one round at a time. I know you want to lift the trophies. I know you want to bring the championship home, but at the end of the day, coaching, it's a lot of work. You gotta work on all the small details. You gotta put in that extra hour after practice with a player like Grim, especially, who he needs to prop up. He needs to give this guy confidence because Grim has had a little bit of trouble sometimes staying consistent, but online right now, he's been looking fabulous. I know that Moses is gonna do great, but make sure you don't look before, don't leap before you can just take the baby steps.
Well, that's our tip of the day coming from Alex, but we also have a tip of the day coming from one of our players, and this time it's going to be Robin.
I think the tip of the day for any aspiring CSGO players from me is that you shouldn't change around with your settings. Just find settings that you like and then you stick with them forever, basically, because changing settings won't help anything in the long run. It's just going to make you less consistent. and it's going to be hard for you to like keep a stable level, I think, and then you'll be stuck in a loop of changing things, and it's just going to be bad.
I think we all have that friend on our squad who is constantly changing their settings. They'll bottom frag in a game and they're like, no, it's my stance, guys. It's my stance. I've got to change it. So I think, Potter, that's some very apt advice.
Yeah, well, what else could it be, right, Freya? It cannot be the player. It's gotta be the crosshair. It's gotta be the res. We all know this. We're gamers, so I totally get that. Nah, but I do. It's such a bad habit for gamers, but I totally get it. I do it myself. The one thing, though, is about changing your settings like that constantly. It doesn't set you up for that consistent success later on down the road. So that's the only caveat, but I totally get it. I do it myself.
Yeah, I mean, a bad workman blames his tools. I think that's what we can glean from that. And so hopefully somebody that won't be blaming their tools, rather, are our teams coming up today. We have got some huge matches. We're going to be starting off with EU Group A. So let's take a quick recap and see exactly how we got to this stage. Of course, it's going to be Big versus Heroic coming up first after Big managed to take the victory from Endpoint. Again, we said this was such a close one. Then on the other side is, of course, Heroic beating out Mad Lions, which we were talking about a little bit before, Alex. It was quite a clean victory from Heroic, but at the same time, you've got to put a bit of an asterisk there because obviously Mad Lions, they've had a roster change recently.
Yeah, Mad Lions, it's not been the best look for them. They're already out of the tournament, as we can see, Endpoint deleting them in the elimination match. I mean, it was a close one at that, but for this winners match we have upcoming here, Big and Heroic, I really like how Heroic has prepared for this one. They look like they have some game plans moving into this. That being said, it was against Mad Lions, so maybe everything looked like it was going to work because the quality of their opponent wasn't as high. And on the other side, though, Big, I think they might kind of have that post-championship malaise where they're just kind of taking it a little bit too easy. They think that everything's just going to work. So I really need them to whip themselves into shape if they're going to make it competitive today.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. It's only the second time we'll have seen both of these teams play so far in the tournament. And of course, jumping over to the other side of the pond to the NA action also in Group A. This is where we're going to be seeing two of our matches coming up today. Of course, as Pug Gods going up against Triumph in our lower bracket matchup. I think it's safe to say that those were the two teams we kind of expected to be ending up there. And then, of course, Liquid now with Grim and also Moses on their side facing up against Chaos. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this one, Alex, because this could be a spicy match.
Yeah, the winners match, Liquid Chaos, it should be time for for Grim to actually flex some of his muscles online, show why he is a cut above the rest of the T2 competition. Why did Liquid actually pick him up? And maybe we'll see a little bit of Moses in the server somehow, like a little stamp of his doings. I don't know. Maybe if they'll change some tactics, maybe they'll play a freer, faster style. I'm curious. I'm curious here.
Yeah, me too. He's only obviously been part of the team since Monday, but I feel like that Moses stamp will definitely have been planted on it. But with that, I think it's time that we start delving into this treasure trove of games today. If you thought yesterday's games were spicy, then we are about to bring the fire today. We'll be beginning with our EU upper bracket matchup. It's going to be Heroic versus Big colliding after this break.